football in general. Max, what was your reaction when you saw the actual commitment?
I was not surprised. I wasn't surprised. I guess I really wasn't surprised. I think that there's, it's hard to get a read on that one just because I think, to his credit and his family's credit, not shockingly, the Mannings really played this close to the vest. And other than maybe his high school coach doing a lot of interviews this year, you really didn't hear them too much talk about how this was going. And I think that the public kind of believed it was a Texas, Georgia, Alabama battle. And, he took those OVs and ultimately Texas got him on board. And I was, I think the big takeaway, I know it's easy to sort of jump right into the what's this going to mean? Can Texas compete for national championships in the SEC and all that stuff? But I think today, clearly, it's a pretty big statement that, first of all, that the Manning family really believes in and trusts Steve Sarkisian, and that Arch Manning really believes that Texas is a place where, like at Alabama or Georgia, he feels like he can get really elite players to come play with him.
Well, look, his track record of putting players in the NFL, and look, Arch Manning's a Manning, so that certainly helps. But Steve Sarkisian, when people are asking how's he getting all these quarterbacks, look, he got Jake Locker into the top 10. He got Mark Sanchez in the NFL for a decade. This is a guy who's got a track record. People kind of forget that because it seems like it's been a while, but Tua, Mac Jones, all these are Sark QBs.
Yeah, if you read off his resume, just like year to year, the quarterback list from USC and all the pros he was around there to Washington, you're right with Locker. People always kind of forget about Locker because he retired so soon. But then to go to Alabama and obviously to be around Tua and Mac Jones and build in 2020 truly one of the best offenses we've seen. And then to go to Texas, yeah, I think the track record on Sark is certainly pretty impressive in terms of turning these guys into pros. And clearly, this is also just I think this is just one of those things. Really, as much as it was really important, obviously, to get Quinn Ewers at Texas, and something that Texas fans have had their eyes on for a very long time. I don't doubt that Steve Sarkisian and AJ Milwee and his staff, from the day they got to Texas, probably felt like Arch Manning's the guy we're going to make a run at, and we've got to kind of do all the right things to check all the right boxes for him.
So, Max, what kind of a tidal wave effect do you think that this has? Texas has top 5 recruiting classes every year, but now this kind of spins this 2023 class to where you're really talking about, a number 1 finish with Arch Manning and all the players that apparently want to play with him. What kind of a tidal wave effect do you think this has?
Yeah, it's going to be, it's going to be really interesting to see, because when Quinn Ewers committed to Texas, there was that same kind of question of, well, okay, can they flip Evan Stewart, and can they get all these other guys on board with their class? And they were able to, obviously, I think that had a huge effect on the offensive line class that they put together at Texas in this last cycle, which was, one of the best we've ever seen. And I'm sure that O-line class helped a lot with Arch. I certainly think that it's going to make a difference with some of the top recruits in the state of Texas, especially on the offensive side of the ball. The class doesn't have a ton of those commitments yet. I think the class is not even I think it's in the top 20 right now, but not the top 10, because they haven't taken that many guys yet. But I do think, now you kind of flip the switch, and now Arch Manning is recruiting for Texas instead of kind of playing things close to the vest here. And I'm interested to see, what does that mean for, the best players in the state and around the country. And I'm sure right now Texas fans are pretty excited that, there's a chance to, like you said, even with A&M recruiting the way they have, and Georgia recruiting off a national championship, and Alabama being Alabama, and Notre Dame is right now is recruiting better than anybody. I'm sure there's a lot of confidence this is going to be at least a top 5 class.
What I liked about what he did is he was not a lot of look at me. Not that you shouldn't enjoy your recruitment. Some players do that more than others, but it was one tweet, the commitment. And he also kind of got away from that umbrella of the South. That doesn't mean he won't be a part of the SEC. He probably will be at some point. I like that. Yeah. I like that he kind of said, hey, I'm going to go build my own thing, whether it had been in Texas or somewhere else outside of that part of the SEC that has been around for a while.
Yeah, I liked him just throwing up the first tweet ever on his account was his commitment to Texas. And I looked at it the other day, and I think he had – I looked at it maybe a half hour ago. I think it had 142,000 likes on it. So I don't know if you guys have posted any tweets in recent years that have hit that number. I'm certain I have not.
I put up a picture of a sandwich I ate one day that got 7. So
there you go.
You know, I mean, I felt like I'm on the way. That time's going to tell on that.
I mean,
one.
it's interesting. He's just such a celebrity to folks online and to the recruiting world and all that stuff. Like he's just kind of he's been slotted number 1 in his class from the day from the day he was a freshman, really. And so it's just a different level now in terms of just the fame and notoriety and attention that comes with Arch Manning. And obviously there's a lot to live up to there, but I think he ultimately felt like Texas was the place where he would be most comfortable kind of living in that bubble.
I know this is probably not fair to even ask, but where does the transfer portal dominoes start to fall?
Yeah, I think there's going to be, in terms of the quarterback recruiting class here, there's certainly some effect there where Georgia has to go find a QB, and will they get involved in some of these guys that everyone's fighting for, like Dante Moore and Jaden Rashada. I also like Georgia. I'm sure that they were, when you kind of go all in on a guy like this and then you don't get him, it's tough. But Georgia's probably one of those schools that if they don't love their options at the end of this year when Stetson Bennett moves on, I'm sure they can go out and get the best player in the portal, and that's a pretty easy sell to come to Georgia. So they may be in a position now in not getting Arch where maybe that's a little bit more of a consideration now. And, I think for Texas, obviously, you've got people are just, going to forget to talk about Hudson Card and Malik Murphy and who else they've got in their room there. But it's a pretty strong room right now. And I think the competition there, certainly for this season and beyond, is going to be really interesting. Can Quinn Ewers or Hudson Card turn into a guy that can be maybe a 2-year starter that gives Arch a little bit of time, or does Arch have to come in and be the guy from day one?
Max, what did you think